You know what? I think that's probably the best value out of this entire episode that you just gave is literally that. I want you to get a little bit personal here on talking to our audience, which a lot of them, have side hustles, but they have a full-time gig, or they're thinking about, launching their own business one day. I want to hear what influences all these different career opportunities led to you basically cultivating Maven.
So I think that by nature, PR is about relationships and influence and reputation and perception. And when I say that I heard I should go into PR in college and did, I don't think I really realized how much my personality and my personal interest would play into me being good at the job, because there's the aspect of writing and strategy and so much of what I feel like I do now, more than ever before, because, I'm so in the weeds still as this business is getting off the ground. But so much of my personal interest of meeting people and connecting with people, I never knew was going to pay off like it did. And that is the bread and butter of PR, is make relationships, have, strategic conversations and communication with people, but not when you need them. Have them because you know that they are in your ecosystem intentionally. It's, keeping the right people in your corner and rubbing elbows with the right people, but not for the sake of getting something from them and having it be a one-sided relationship. It needs to be mutually beneficial. So the most genuine relationships that you can have are people that are in your industry or people that you meet through another friend. But someone can sense really, really quickly if you're trying to get something from them.
Sure.
And I think, I can't even count the number of relationships that have started as just a sheer, hey, it's so nice to meet you. I really like you. We should grab coffee. Or it's so good to see you every year at this trade show. We just hit it off, and have then now become some of the most influential relationships that have really steered Maven forward. And I never could have guessed. I never could have guessed that I would have needed to rely on them, or even that they would be a source of business or, connection later in life. And so the best thing I can say is, when I was at an agency, there was always a need to be networking and seeing what clients can we get. At Perfect Bar, there wasn't the need, because we were this echo chamber of our brand. And only people I really needed to know were the people on my team and media influencers, other stakeholders for the brand. But I didn't need to rub elbows with our private equity firm necessarily. There wasn't anything more they could do for me then. I didn't need to rub elbows with the Naturally San Diego people. That was more my own personal interest. I didn't need to go to trade shows and go around to every single booth and make friends with everyone. But because I did those things when I didn't need to, it's paying off now, because it's just natural. It's the way that the relationships are now coming to fruition in a way that I didn't expect them to back then.
You know what? I think that's probably the best value out of this entire episode that you just gave is literally that. There is something too. And I remember, I've always told you, I struggle with sales. I'm so not salesy. I'm super transparent. I'm so honest, almost to the point of even being at a fault. But I do remember watching you just network and naturally just have conversations with people. And I know that really is just such a talent that you have. And I think that more people need to understand that, because I think especially for someone like me, I'm the same way. I'm well, I'm not going to go talk to so-and-so it's not a natural relationship I need to cultivate at this moment or in my time of my career. But like you said, just creating those relationships, look how much they can actually provide for you in the long run. And I think the other kind of prong to that is also too, knowing people, having people come in and be like, hey, you know what? I just talked to this girl at this trade show, or she's part of Naturally San Diego. I know she does social media. I know she does PR. Maybe, she'd be a good fit for you or for X, Y, and Z.
Or just to know her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's really is, and we're going to get into influence in a second, but it really is kind of like the ripple effect, right? Like you meet one person
100%.
and you start to really kind of expand your own network just by, like you said, having organic, honest relationships.
I I think that especially having, well, first of all, with being in a pandemic for the last year and a half and having energy depletion. I mean, we talk about this all the
Mhm.
time. It's like we only have so much energy to give. And when I was like 25, yeah, the only thing I wanted to do was go to networking events every single night. Like that was sounded like the fun thing to do. Now it's not. And so you do need to be strategic about where you're spending your time, where you're spending your energy. Those things are so sacred.
Mhm.
However, I think that if you sat down and really thought about where, like naturally San Diego to me, and the reason that I have invested so much in it is because I see it as one of those places that is a catch all for what all of us need and what didn't previously exist in
Sure.
the industry of CPG, food and bev, natural products. And there were so many networking events that I would go to in the past that I'm like, everyone here, I
Mhm.
don't, even if I really did like enjoy a conversation with you, it's just, we don't have enough in common. We don't have enough
Sure.
of the same things to talk about. It's not that you're not a great person and sure, we can go get coffee. I just don't know that there's enough runway for us to really have a relationship. And, I don't need any more like best friends to go to the
Yeah.
farmer's market with on Saturday morning. It's more like, I want to have functional relationships if I'm going to invest more energy in them. So what I can say is if you maybe seek out where are those places where those hubs of people that I can connect with on different levels, not just what I
Mhm.
love about the natural products industry is that I feel like everyone's really wonderful on a personal level and a professional level. And I'm sure that there are many other industries like that. I just haven't been part of many others. And I just think it's such a, you get, it's a win-win, right? Like you
Sure.
get both best of both worlds. And if everyone just sat and thought, where are the places that I could show up where I would actually have a lot to say and I could kind of speak the same language as whoever else
Mhm.
is there. And that's why like mom groups do so well, right? Like when you
Yeah.
become a new mom, you gravitate towards these mom groups because they speak the same language. You probably can relate a lot to what they're going through and the life experience that they're in.
Mhm.
And there's a need there. There's a desire to connect and to get to know each other. And I think that's probably the most blatant example of kind of going from 0 to 100. Like you're
Yeah.
one day you're not a mom, the next day you are, and now you can join these mom groups and you need them so badly. And that's where a lot of great friendships come from. It's where family vacations come from. And so similarly in your own like personal ecosystem, it's like, where are those places that I could enjoy personally and
Mhm.
also have a lot to talk about?
Yeah,
I always
absolutely.
the most interesting person at an event or a social gathering is the most interested. And
Mhm.
if you can ask the right questions to someone and you kind of know what would get them talking, that's really how you're going to make these relationships. And you can only do that in areas that you're familiar with or that you feel that you know a lot about, like your industry or like a special interest like cycling or marathon training, whatever it is. That's where the conversation is going to flow naturally and you don't have to try so hard.